Hi everyone, my name's Tati, and as some of you may already know, I was diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder about 13 and a half years ago now. What I want to talk to you about today is actually my timeline, the different steps that I took in order to gain a better quality of life for myself with this disorder, and how I actually learned so much through this disorder that I actually consider it a blessing, where in the past I considered it almost a death sentence, like, oh my God, I'm certifiably crazy. And well, yeah, when I'm off my meds, certifiably crazy. But on my meds, the medication really does help with the schizophrenic symptoms. And with the schizophrenic symptoms in check, that gives me the opportunity to start doing the work for myself and learning how to regulate my emotions, learning how to regulate the bipolar side of things, which is the affective part of schizoaffective disorder. That, represents bipolar symptoms and therefore difficulty regulating emotions. But with a lot of work, inner child work, introspective work, self-accountability, self-compassion, learning how to be kind to myself, accountable yet kind, learning how to talk to myself as if I was actually my own best friend. All of these are things that have helped me greatly gain a much, much, much better quality of life for myself, to the point where, I'm doing life coaching certification programs. I'm working on my personal development. I'm reading up on, childhood trauma and focusing on meditation. I'm doing all these things, all these acts of self-care that have actually revolutionized my life. I mean, I remember a time where cleaning my apartment or tidying up was such a chore that I felt incapable of doing it. And that actually came from some perfectionistic tendencies that led me to procrastination, because I knew I would fall short of my own expectations of cleanliness. And so I just lived in a pigsty for a long time. But today, I actually take a lot of joy, find a lot of meditative qualities to tidying up, doing the dishes, doing the laundry, vacuuming, all these things that used to seem like insurmountable chores now seem not only feasible but joyful. And, I think that's a great example of the fact that the world isn't going to adapt to us. It's up to us to find our place in the world with all of our quirks that come from our disorder, which come from thinking differently, that come from thinking out of the box. And we can really find our place in this world. And one of the things that really helped me along the way was finding what brings me joy and then doing that. And, I'm a bit ADD, so what I want to do and what I'm excited about doing might change on a daily basis, but there's patterns. There's patterns. For example, I love music. I love to sing. I love to write. I love to listen to music. So in terms of how I approach music, there are times during which I compose my own songs. There are times during which I learn a few cover songs. There's times during which I go to jams and just improvise and perform on stage. There's times where I go into the studio and record and go through the whole editing process of the song and releasing it myself. And all of these things, like I even have phases where I just listen to music. And there's phases where I listen to songs that I've heard 1,000 times. And then there's other times where I listen to new stuff. I go new stuff. And it's led me to record, I think, five songs until now, and originals. And the goal isn't to succeed in music. The goal is to do what I love without the expectation, and music just speaks to my soul, and it's something that helps me get up in the morning. And just as my chores are a reason for me to get up in the morning, it all goes to the same. It's all about living with intention. Like, we're allowed to have desires and wants and needs. And the better you get to know yourself, learn to respect yourself and learn to treat yourself and learn to take care of yourself and take part in the act of loving yourself. Because a lot of people will think that self-love is a feeling or an emotion. But in my interpretation, it's actually an action. So self-care, like taking a bath, brushing your teeth, brushing your hair, finding something cute to wear, eating properly, eating healthily, having a snack every now and then. Come on, little pleasures in life, and really, it helps to find that balance so that you don't fall into rigidity or judgment of yourself or others, lead to frustration, which can lead to resentment, which is just a nasty spiral to go down. What I'm saying is, through self-care and gratitude and self-compassion, self-respect, you can actually build a sense of self and a sense of self-esteem and a sense of self-confidence. And the more you work on yourself, with or without a coach, it always helps to speak your thoughts out loud, because a lot of the time when we're left to our own devices, we tend to spiral. And it helps to have someone there, whether it's a friend, a family member, a psychiatrist, a psychologist, or a life coach, whatever you choose. It can be really beneficial to open up and be genuine about parts of yourself that spiral in your head a lot. And when you address those things head on, dare speak them. A lot of the times you'll be like, wait, I was really pissed off and I knew I was in the right. But when I say it out loud, it sounds kind of trivial almost. And that's where the trick is, to be like, okay, well, it might be trivial, but this is where I'm at. Let me work up from here. And how can I go from getting upset over something trivial to managing my emotions in such a way that I can work with curiosity instead of fear towards a productive goal, rather than ruminating on the fact that someone ran into me in the streets and bumped my shoulder and had the nerve to then complain at me for them bumping into me. And I have a choice in that instance. And when you choose to hold on, because it is a choice, when you choose to hold on to an emotion like anger, resentment, or frustration, and you bottle it up and bottle it up, it's just going to explode. So learning how to express yourself in a constructive way goes a long way towards you being heard, respected, and seen for your authentic self by others. I used to cry a lot. I would cry on a daily basis sometimes, for months at a time, depending on what happened to me out in the world. And I'd be depressed for months on end because of one circumstance. And I felt stuck in those depressive moods, but I also felt comfortable there. That's the tricky part, is I didn't know what it was like to not be depressed, to not be anxious all the time, to not be hard on myself or just ashamed of myself or feeling less than. Like, there was a lot of that going on for a long time, for most of my life. And in order to feel different, I had to behave differently. And that's what I had to understand, is that the world is not going to change or adapt to me just to help me survive. Like, if I want a better quality of life for myself, I have to start behaving differently, doing different things, not just laying on the couch all day doing nothing, or at the other extreme, remembering to rest when I need it. It's all part of the balance. It's so important to recognize, to really listen to yourself. Pay as much attention to your own feelings as you do to other people and what they might think of you. Like, ask yourself what you think of you, and then be accountable to yourself with kindness and compassion, just as if you were your own best friend, as I said earlier. So what I really wanted to say was, taking the meds, step one, stabilized me, continues to stabilize me. And I recognize that I need those medications at this point. And it's all a question of, finding the right dosage. But then the meds are just the tip of the iceberg. The biggest part of the iceberg that you don't see underwater is all the introspective and personal development work that you're going to want to do. I guess what I want to say is that meds aren't enough to get you out of survival mode, but the meds plus doing the work, priceless. The world still sends me obstacles galore. I'm no exception to the rule. Shit is always hitting the fan. But it's the way that I approach things that has changed. And I no longer go to rock bottom as a default reset mode and stay there for months. I don't lean into the depression anymore. When I feel it coming on, I'm able to give myself a boost of courage and really show. Those are the moments in which I can count on my resilience now, because I know I got this. Whatever the world throws my way, I know I got this. And the last thing I want to say is that I would not be able to be the person I am if I hadn't had the support system that I have. My support system, my loved ones, my inner circle, my tribe, they're everything to me, and they got my back. And, as someone like me with schizoaffective disorder, connecting was always something very difficult. But I never lost hope, and I kept persevering, and little by little built up a group of amazing friends that I know I can count on, that I have no doubt love me to bits. And so I guess those are the three things that I really wanted to impress upon today, was the importance of meds, doing the work, and building a support system. And of course, in doing the work, there's the whole self-care thing, but that's like a subcategory. So, I think that would be a good overview of what keeps me stable, what keeps me going, what keeps me motivated. I forgot about finding a passion, finding something that makes you want to get up in the morning. And if you're a bit ADD like me, have as many passions as you want and just rotate them. You don't need to finish that art project before you move on to creating a song. You don't need to finish creating that song before you move on to reading something about personal development. You can alternate whatever works for you. That's what I do. And I hope that me sharing a bit of my experience helps a few people out there. And most of all, I hope it gives you a sense of hope that a schizoaffective disorder diagnosis is not the end of your world. It's not the end of your life. It might actually be the beginning, and it might actually be a really good learning platform to build upon. And I hope you dare take the leap and go on that introspective journey, because it really is worth it, and it really has saved my life. So get going. Love to all.